All right, we got one more we're gonna do, and then we're gonna do some a quick little sketch again. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is integration, and that is one of the advanced principles that I teach. This is the I think Jeff just took this class about a month ago from me. So, and Gerson took it in March, I think. So this is a review for you guys. But integration is sort of that. It's an intermediate principle. It's not a basic. It's going towards an advance, but it's a very important thing. And I think this is one of the keys that most designers miss. And it's really the key to making your designs just take it to another level. Connecting separate elements together as one congruent whole. When you integrate objects in a design, all the elements flow and connect together.
For all you liberals out.
So you don't feel like you have to leave one space in order to experience the next one, which is a huge thing that most designs have. And I'll go back to this. One thing that most designs I see, it starts with a pool in the middle, and then you surround the pool with decking all the way around it in an envelope, says you envelop it in. And then outside of that, you put some landscape, maybe 4-foot landscape bed with some shrubs. And then outside of that, you put a fence. And then you're just kind of just enveloping outside the same rectangle over and over and over again. And then maybe you have a lawn outside of that. And it's just there. What? Do you want to go there? I don't want to go there. What makes that exciting? Why do I want to go to that space? I don't. So when you start to integrate and you look at how different elements can touch each other and puncture and cross over and have dynamic integration where it feels like it's just an extension of. And this is one vanishing edge is where pool spills over. It's not surrounded by the deck. The spa punctures into the pool. The steppers come all the way up to the pool, and the grass takes away. There's no coping. It's a grass edge. So you eliminate the coping, and boom, everything is touching and integrating and tying together. And it feels like it's one space. Another one we looked at the very beginning, where the spa is in the middle of the pool. It's not off to the side somewhere. You actually have to get your feet wet and get into the spa that's there. All of the steppers are not just the same stepper, but they're all integrated, making this pattern that comes down through here. The sun lounge is tied in to the chairs the table goes in there. The planters are integrated. Huge ways, but landscape planters. I'll get to that in just a second. So
they did
round bar stools. Sorry, go ahead.
They did round bar stools. Yes, they did. I would not have done that. Correct. So they screwed up. I mean, I can't make everyone right. I do what I
can. I think those planters are too small as well for those size of trees. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. So they could be bigger. I don't think that's not a huge problem to me, but I think it could be. So I like the big trees though.
Yeah.
So 3 ways to integrate: overlap at where they puncture through. Adjacent where they touch, or terracing or platforming, which I'll show in a second. So here's where they puncture through. This is a Fox Terra where the steppers are boom, 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 literally crossing over the water and taking you to where you go into the spa, and then the water wall spills in, and boom, this is dynamic, strong integration. Man, everything just ties together and makes one cool space. And texture. I love doing the stones for the texture, the beach pebbles. This is one that Mike Farley did. Doing a little bit of a different style of integration where the cutouts, like the pavers and the pattern, become interesting through here, but they're also out here too. So the fact that he used an interesting pavement and turf choice that tied in here, you can see this is intentionally separated spaces, like from whether it's the homeowner demanded it or the architect wanted it or whatever. this space is the pool house space or the pavilion, and it's got an entrance and an exit and a wall, and it's separated from everything else, and the pool itself is completely separated, and it's got a wall, and it's completely separated from the fire pit space. I wouldn't have done that. I think those should all connect and touch and be part of itself. But
it's a huge footprint.
yeah, it's huge. I know it's eating a ton of space, and I think it had a lot of potential. But and again, I know Mike well, but I don't know the story of this project. But I assume that because we want this fenced off. You can see the fence that ties in, whatever. So you can't connect this space that's going to be separated.
Maybe
So
it's like they entertain in separate spaces.
or a kid barrier.
a kid barrier, correct? It's most like what it is, keeping the kids out of the pool, but do this space. But then are they going here anyway, and whatever? So I mean, I get it, and that happens, and you fight some of those things. But he solved that problem. Instead of saying, oh, well, they want a barrier, let's put a big boxwood fence down the line and another one there and separate it where you don't even see it. He did a very creative way of doing it, was made a very strong statement pattern here and then repeated that over here and did some of the same sort of shapes through this space. And even though they're very separated by design or by intentionality, they feel like they're connected, like they're all one, because of the use of some creative turf and shape choices.
Would you connect the fire pit area by surrounding with the panels around it and scooting it closer to the pool? Would that be the
I think
connectivity?
to me this is an scale. What do I do here?
That's a splash
Scale
pad.
feels way off for this space for the fire pit, and the fire pit feels like it's just kind of hanging out, cheese to the wind. What do I want to go here? Why would I go here?
No, you don't.
I think the area by the fire pit is a splash pad.
You may be right.
Mhm.
You're right. Yep. I know. Look at that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. That's probably a kid's splash pad right there. So, still, I mean, who's going to use that? It's like it's disconnected enough. You leave a space and you have to go to another space. It just feels. Is this going to get used that much? Probably not. A little bit. I mean, is this going to get used? Why would I sit here when I could go here? And I could be with all the earth and the wind and the fire and the how it all ties in and the water. This just feels like I'm not going to use that much. But I think what he hit the point here, what he did, tied it all together by shape. So, and I hate slides, but whatever. So, I guess that's the one way to do it, is he greened the side of it, but still. This is a really good example. Movement for one, boom, 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 takes you across. Architectural unity, where I'm going. I mean, it feels like it's all part of the house, all tying into one right there. But integrating with the integrating of the steppers go across the one I'm puncturing through and tying it in. It feels like it's literally an extension of the home. But I've got this, to me, falls under the thing of, well, a pool needs to be X, so let's just put a 20 by 40 or 16 by 45 probably, or something in here. It looks like a little bit more rectilinear there. But instead of saying that they wanted a lap pool, so let's make the lap pool within another pool. So the rest of it you can still get in, and it feels like it's the same shape of the house, and it's all tying in. This becomes an island, and it's all fun spaces, even though we still have a defined lap pool, and it just expands the space and ties in as one piece.
And goes around the corner over there on the back.
Yeah, it makes a peninsula, makes an island, raises up. I mean, it's using water as a connector to connect all the dots, instead of just saying, "Oh, there's my pool. We're done." Now, this is the one Pinnacle Award this year. Who is this? So I don't know who Garden Design Studio. I don't know who they are. Another example of award winner this year too. Stepping across, the steppers penetrate through. Actually, did the water around the fire. I love mixing.
I love that. That's awesome.
Isn't that cool? I know.
That is cool.
Like,
we need to do that.
you sit around there, and it's got the
That's great.
fire pit's kind of on its own little island. You're sitting there around it, and it just ties in the
Don't
water.
drink too much though around the fire pit.
Yeah, whatever. It's not deep. It's just an ankle. Fuck. Yeah. The outdoor kitchen, the pavilion ties in. Everything integrates and becomes this one really cool space. So the more you can make those integrated connections, the better your space is going to be. That's one I did again. Stepper, same thing. I use this example all the time. The easy answer to what most people do in this case, this isn't, functional. It's just, surrounds that you can swim around here, but it's not like for water play space. But the easy thing would just be okay, well, here's my pool. My pool stops right here. I need to walkway right here. Boom. That goes up and down the space. But I said, well, what if I just bring the water on the other side of the walkway? It's not a big deal to do that. I just made the pool a little bit wider through here and put some pedestals and put a cap on it and call it a day. But it makes all the difference in the world. The house ties into it. The water, then I said, well, now I've got an opportunity to make some waterfall feature that ties in here. And then it completely transformed the space. Instead of thinking water is here, deck is on the outside, landscape's on the outside of that. If you can start to push and pull and think outside the box and do creative things, man, it opens up a world of opportunity. Wins awards, does cool stuff. And this is the terracing or platforming. And I do a ton of this where I'll have an area of a pool and the deck around the pool, and then I'll step down, boom, boom, 3 steps and have another little space, and then 2 more steps or 3 more steps, boom, 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 and have another space. And you're just worried, especially when you've got some elevation change where you've got, 3, 4, 5 feet of elevation change across the yard. If you level out an area and then go down a little bit, level out an area, and you platform it to where you've got these, it just feathers into the ground, that everything becomes usable and everything becomes interesting. You're creating these intentional use areas. And then you say, okay, well, now the fire pit is in here, but if you're sitting by the fire pit in this one, you're looking over the edge spillover, and you're lower that. You're not just sitting up higher than the water looking down at it, you're looking at the water coming at you. All because I went down 3 steps, and the grade actually worked better because the grade is falling off right here. I don't end up with a huge retaining wall anywhere. No, it works out nicely in that case. The other thing I like to do is, especially with a pool, I like to make an edge where I make that point the edge. I don't like to stop it at a corner and just frame it like that. I like to make that edge stand out. It protrudes. It integrates into the space in a very cool way. So
beautiful.
And then here is another thing. I've got a planter of some kind.
I like the tree there, Jason.
Oh God, you're baiting. You're baiting me now. I know. So,
I know. Right.
This is the job. I'll tell this story. I'm not going to tell. I'll tell that story later. But the homeowner was ended up selling the house right as we're finished with it. And I had picked out like this gorgeous, absolutely stunningly gorgeous tree that was supposed to be this. It was the sculptural art piece that everything was going to be built around through here. Went to the nursery, said, here, buy this one. Basically he was going to pay with his credit card and just buy it. And I said, do it. So, and then the landscaper, all he wanted to do was put crepe myrtles everywhere. We should never put a crepe myrtle next to the pool. And so I said, no, do this when you have to do this one. And I come back later, and after I left, and they just put just a regular old Japanese maple in there. So it's like, oh, that was supposed to be just the sculpture piece. Instead, it's just a maple. The landscaper did his own thing, and the homeowner didn't care because he sold the house.
Can we stop right there and just ask who here thinks about sculpturous trees in certain locations? Because I've learned that from you, Jason, on picking a certain tree for that kind of spot right there that actually transitions the space from this is a great area to like a piece of artwork. So Talk about that a
Y'all,
little
do
bit.
y'all do that? Anyone play with the landscape heavy in the design? I know it's in the designer guys. Probably a good bit of you guys do some of that. But I will design an entire space. I'll go to there's one particular nursery here in Atlanta called Hewitt Garden Center.
Or in Nashville.
Yeah, here in Nashville. But I will go and did I say what did I say? Did I say something?
You said Atlanta. That's
Did I
okay.
say Atlanta? Yeah,
Yeah, it's all good. It doesn't matter.
I don't know where the hell I am at this point.
You don't know where you're
Nursery in Atlanta
It's
on
all
Monday
good.
looking at stuff for Gertson's job. So I'm just confused. Sorry. So but there's one and I will go and just get lost in it. And there'll be one tree. It said that's it. That's the one. And it'll be a $8,000 tree. And it'll get a discount because it's just you pay what you pay there. So good. And I pay the same thing everyone else pays on that one. But said that's it. That's the one. And I will design the entire design around that tree because it's the sculptural quality and the way that it's 20 feet tall and the branching structure and the lead, it's a ginkgo or it's a whatever it is. So this is an example of what it was supposed to be, and they screwed it up because it's stupid ass landscape.
And one thing that's beautiful, guys, is whenever you do get one of those sculpture trees, where it really becomes something beautiful is at night when it's lit.
The lighting.
Oh yes.
The lighting when it's lit, when the lighting is done correctly, and then you have those trees, it's just like, dang, dude, it's worth $8,000.
Oh, that's nothing. I mean, for the
That's nothing on this job.
I know for what it does, that's fine. I mean, that's just
Just keep that in mind, y'all, as y'all are designers, and if you have these planter boxes where you have a vision or a view corridor of where you need to like plop something down in this little area. Make that a sculpture tree. Make it something special and tell them it's going to be.
You're doing that today with Omar, weren't you? Yeah, we have another job.
That was today.
That was today. Yeah, you were putting there, and he sent me a text of it. Put it in plane. I was about to get on a plane, and this is the tree, and it was one of those $6,000 trees or whatever it was. They placed it and got it all set today, and they're taking pictures. It's the centerpiece of this whole all circular design thing. It all come together. And I'm a smart ass, and I said, move it 2 inches to the left.
And I said, don't listen to him, plant that.
I know, and then the landscaper's like, well, I'll have to rent a crane. And it's like, I'm just being
I said, I'm
just being a jerk.
Just being a jerk.
I know, whatever. So.
But those are very important on these designs.
I have a question about the turf.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I see that you have turf really close to real grass, and we use a lot of turf out here in Las Vegas.
Yes, you do.
It does get very, very hot. But how do you think that fire pit and those chairs are going to wear? Like, is there going to start matting down the turf? Like, I think it looks beautiful, but I just don't know if it's going to be wearing very well.
So two answers to your question on that. One is the hotness factor. So that's legitimate. So, but I like to irrigate my turf so that it'll grow special hard and then it gets twice as tall. So that's not my joke.
I'm like,
it's dead.
It's plastic, moron. That's right. No,
I was like, maybe
I do
turf is
irrigate
something
it.
different than I think turf is, but turf is plastic.
It is. That was a joke. I'm being I'm having some drinks. I'm having a good time. No, I do irrigate it though. So I will, especially on.
What do you mean?
On poolside spaces where you're going to be barefoot on turf, and I love to use it around that. Then I will put an irrigation zone on that turf.
That's on the pool controller.
That's on the pool controller, not on. So
is it just like is it like a drip system or is it a sprinkler?
Spray. It'll rise. So when it gets hot and it gets whatever,
it's a sprinkler.
It's a sprinkler. So you'll pop it on for 5 minutes and cool that thing down and get the whole deal, and it gives you an hour or two of comfortable, which is when you're out there, at the end of the day. So I irrigate that. I make that joke every time when I'm talking to customers about why I'm irrigating turf. They think I'm an idiot. It's like, no, I'm not. But
he also tries to fertilize it.
I don't actually. Yeah, gonna make that stuff grow real nice. My part just didn't quite run.
And I love that you brought the turf. Also, I can see it back, like behind the little couch back there. So that way, it's in a couple areas.
Right.
I do like to use a lot of it. And then your other question on there, and I think Chad was going to say something in a second too, but the quality of the turf matters.
Sure. Yeah.
And it used to be like AstroTurf, and I hated it because I was a purist and I didn't want to use it. But there's some stuff now that's so good. I use a product called Sinlawn, is the brand manufacturer of Goat Turfs, the company that puts it in for us. But it's the system I have put it in my house. It's sort of a deeper green in a lot of cases. It matches more of a fescue look, and it's got brown thatch woven in too.
Yeah,
So
the stuff uses like
it looks as real as it can be, and it's phenomenal. And so I have it in my house, and I lay on it and do snow angels or fast angels, and it's great stuff. So,
awesome. Thank you.
I don't actually do that, but okay.
Snow angels.
I know. Sure enough.
Oh,
so, but the point on that he was making about trees, but planters are a huge thing. Bring landscape up against your pool. Don't just let it be a pool surrounded by deck. Put the planter against it. No, people say, "What about mulch?" Mulch doesn't go. Put drainage in your planter. It's there, and drop your landscape level a few inches below the edge of the planter, so that goes in. But this is the stuff that softens and gives you some room to be able to make it interesting and tie in and make it not just feel like this cold, sterile pool surrounded by a bunch of decking everywhere. So, and it also gives you a place you can put your landscape lights in those planters and shine across and create space and do. Otherwise, you're shining from way in the distance. So, big fan of planters. It brings earth in, and envelopes often. What else do I say? That's about it. More integration, steppers across, hanging day beds over the water. I mean, trees in the pool. It all's one. It's not just the pool and surrounded by some decking and surrounded by plants and surrounded by some. It's interesting. So. All right. I think that's all I got on that stuff. So, what time is it? That's already 9:20. Damn it. Okay. So I've got in your book a couple of other little exercises. You can do that as homework. So that's more for just understanding the thought of rhythm and movement and emphasis and contrast and I think I even have something for the integration. But do that later. So that's fine. And really, that's not something you have to like turn in. That's more for to try. If you have questions, if you do it, you've got a question on it, feel free to send it to me. But it isn't a assignment. It's just a practice. Just if you start putting your hand to do some of it, it solidifies it and cements it in your mind. So a good piece in that case. So we're going to end today with one more step, and that's our lesson 6 here, where we are having the case studies. And this is where you guys have been great this afternoon too, talking and good. So that's what I basically want everyone to chime in and see what you see and tell me what you see. But I've got pictures. First set of this is pictures that are individuals, and what I want to do is this is basically Jeopardy except with no money. Just call out what you see. So what are the things, the elements of design, the line, shape, color, texture, space, the principles, balance, scale, contrast, emphasis, rhythm, movement, unity, integration. Some of these pictures these are the parts when we started saying this is, we're breaking it down, we're dissecting it and taking it apart, and now we can see the parts that are there. So I'm going to go through several and tell me what you see.
Color.
But what about color?
I see the emphasis on color.
Contrast, red and blue.
Yes, it's got contrast. The contrast of color, correct, is correct there. What else?
The background, like behind that palm tree there, with the lights going up, it almost adds depth to it. Makes it look like it's farther.
It does right here.
Yep. In a little cove.
Yeah, this little cutout. I've used this cutout design all the time. I've done some that are really cool in design. We haven't built one yet. I keep wanting to, but where do a cutout and then I'll do a water. I think Hunter actually did this design, did this cool feature. I hadn't thought of this one before. Put a scupper on top of the cutout like this. So the water is spilling over the cutout, and then we've got a little luminaire, a little gas candle basically behind it. So the flicker of gas of flame behind the water in an illuminated cutout. That's a pretty cool little detail. And so, but anyway, I digress. But,
You also like to do the sheer descent.
oh, thank you. Don't use plastic, people.
That's I was trying to
Don't do plastic.
prod you.
Thank you. Never use plastic. No matter, I don't want to see plastic in a design. I love scuppers. I'll use scuppers all the time. The different materials, whatever. It can be stainless. You can do powder. You can do all kind of stuff. What is sexy about a plastic bar that spits water at you? Nothing. You know what's worse than that? It's when they light it up. Put a big LED light on.
Yeah, that
hey,
is.
look at me. I'm a plastic bar that spits water at you. That sucks. So, anyway.
So you got layering. You've got the foreground with the fire and the pool in the middle, and kind of an inward design because you've got the building behind you.
That's
Correct.
right.
Mm-hmm. Very true. How is it balanced?
It's overlapping.
Symmetrically or asymmetrically?
Asymmetrically.
Is an asymmetric space. So you've got, let's put your grid. Boom. Sight line right here, kind of it's right there. And then I've got a space on this side and a space on this one. And I've got kind of emphasis point or an interest point over here, contrasted by one over here. And this is some elevated space and tied in. So it's a very good, interesting asymmetrical design. But yeah, lots of good color contrast between the two, between the spaces. It's interesting. And this isn't an expensive pool. This is not $1 million pool. This is a backyard pool. But it's got great design elements that isn't just stick a pool in the middle, slap some deck around it, it does have a plastic here. It's not going to give it too much credit. But it does have it's got a lot of good design elements to it. It not crazy sticker job. So something else always says, this design's going to cost a ton. Yes, a lot of our designs cost a ton, but doesn't have to. What is this?
There's
Circular spatial theme.
Yes. And circular is always sexy. Just always. So
the movement of the infinity edge almost guides you along the coast.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be movement.
Mm-hmm.
This movement is a repetition of items in a sequence, but it is the line that's doing that. Correct. And it's kind of that same that we go back to the very beginning. We're talking about lines and how the curvilinears here are coming and they almost touch and then they go back the other way. That's kind of cool.
We got the contrast.
Is that the perspective point of that curve to take you down to the middle of the ocean or following the beach?
Right here, yes. It's a very intentional choice to come in here and curve out and get there and then wrap back around, and it makes that just this is one of my favorite pictures. I'd love to see this place. So
and then it's outward, so it's a borrowed scenery.
Correct. Good answer. Yes, very good.
You got the contrast of the little water feature with the fire, and you have the fire and the water, and then you also have the dark and the light of the seating and the
contrast.
That is a great contrast element. That's correct. So another thing I like about this little detail, little touch. Did they center the fire pit in the middle of the thing?
No.
It's off center. It's just enough to be really cool, where like two rings or the ring inside, but it's not the same.
And part of the reason is because it just wouldn't have fit. But it's really cool that they were able to add the water and offset it. Just looks really cool.
It fit. You could have put that right there. It's intentional.
You can't fit it in the middle. You can't put that in the middle and it be close to the seating though.
Right.
I think they put it because of the heat to be closer to the user.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I think
Ambience,
it's
yeah.
cool. Though.
I just thought it was sexy to look at, so that's why they did it. So,
But
like,
it is
How much
actually
less of them in the wrong
it is
spot.
actually in the center of the entire circle. If you look at the white circle, if you continue to
yep.
look around,
This is the outer fountain is the part that's askew. That's the
Yes.
radius
Right.
for the
Exactly.
whole circle. Yes, correct. Mhm. Which is a well done decision. So yeah, I think
Are those steps
that's
are
good.
those steps movements or rhythm?
That's movement because it is a
Movement.
sequence. I'm going boom, 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 boom. If I can make a noise like that, then it's movement. If I can't make a
Looks
noise,
like there's a spa tucked into that little offset in there after you get to the top of the stairs.
right where.
No, to
In the
the left.
house.
Right there.
I think you'd hit your head. At least I would hit my head on that. I think it's a little fountain feature or something right there. So it's
No,
probably
it's for sure. It's for normal people. It's not for you.
well, normal. It's Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, you can't. You have to stay in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
You too big.
I'm not allowed in that shit. There you go.
whoa.
Jason,
What? What I do? What?
is that Jason's pool?
That's Aldean's. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see? How is it balanced?
I see.
Asymmetrically.
Can you see the sight line? Can you see the grid?
Yeah.
Boom,
You get the cabana out in the middle.
boom, boom. These are the counterpoints. This I had. He wanted to get off. Feel like when he got in his house, he wanted to feel like he got off the boat and he's in the Caribbean. It's like, well, your problem is you're in Nashville, so that's a bit of an issue. And he said, I don't care. I want 30-foot tall palm trees. So we went, and by God, he went to the show where they do all the for movies and sets and whatever, and he bought 30-foot tall fake palm trees, and he gets off the boat like he's in Nashville. And so, but this was the part of the big design was they wanted this tiki hut swim up bar, the whole thing in the middle, but that became so powerful. I needed something to balance it out, to ground the space, to give some layered depth in here. So I did a bigger version, really focused. It's not a major ordeal, but I made a fire pit, fire and water feature, kind of similar to that one. Not exactly, but sorry, that idea, fire and water, fire in the middle, playing off each other. But that is similar. Basically the fact that the relationship these two have to each other, and then how it ties in with a big waterfall and slide on this side, these become sort of a triad that make the whole space work and tie in. So it's a cool space.
A lot of ghosts there.
I used to do the people in the design. I used to tease like you should make it alive and whatever, and then people call me.
They're all ghosts. They're all not really. They're not really there.
I'm racist because everything's white. It's like fine, whatever.
No, I just make them ghosts.
No, now they're ghosts and Casper's over there singing the I don't know whatever. But so now I don't put people in it because people make fun of me too much.
Looks like there's one person down at the bottom.
Yeah, he's walking. I've got
No, the opposite, all the way at the bottom by the bridge, just right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
that's fish. That's
Swimming.
the koi pond.
Oh, that's a fish.
Yeah, it actually is kind of cool. Like I said, so the pool ends right here, and under the bridge, it's got a wall between the two, but it transition. It feels like it opens back up to a koi
nice.
pond with some more, and it's got a fountain. The house is over here on the left, so it comes out. So you view. It looks like it kind of flows in and out and ties in a cool way.
Is this built out?
Yes, it's done. So
Nice.
they did it. And calls it Aldean's Water Park. So, but he did a during COVID. It was finished right during the middle of COVID, and he did on Jimmy Fallon. He did a concert in his backyard in the with all the stuff going. It was really cool. So that was fun. So, what do you see?
Contrast and color.
Integration.
Yep. Simplicity. So nothing else we didn't talk. That's an advanced principle, but cleanness, easiness is nice. How's it balanced?
Asymmetrical.
Kind of got a symmetry line
Symmetrical.
going. See the trees in the background right there?
Yeah, symmetrically.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's clean, so it doesn't have a lot that goes to it, but it still has got that feel to it a little bit. That's cool. What is this?
A lot of contrast.
What is contrasted?
You've got rough and smooth. You've got color, light and dark.
Correct.
Got
Rugged,
some more borrowed
natural.
scenery.
That desert. I think this is one of the coolest things to me. Just the simplicity of, I mean, that could have easily just been made travertine with 3 scuppers in it. But by making it more of a rough hewn, the color's right, but just changing the texture of it makes
Just goes
the
with the
whole
desert.
thing just gives it a pop that's truly unique.
I
I
like
think
how
it has the indirect emphasis on the spa as well, like the example with the reflection of the tree.
The reflecting of the mountain right here.
The
Yeah,
mountain.
Yeah. I don't know that I would call it emphasis. I agree with what you're saying, but emphasis is unmistakable, and this is a little bit more subtle.
okay.
So, but I love the reflection. Anytime you can do a that's why I love doing the champagne edge or whatever you call it, spillovers, and you get that reflective quality to it that makes a huge difference.
Is the spa on that last slide foreground or the midground? What would you call that?
That would be more mid-ground. So there's nothing
Mid-ground.
a better photograph of this, or probably stepping back from a viewing standpoint, if you had something down here that sort of sets the tone for what's going to happen ahead, that would be a foreground element. But this is kind of all mid-ground space right here, and then background is the borrowed scenery in the distance. So, but again, if there were a little fountain or a little something that's black or whatever, then that becomes, if that picture is drawn out a little bit more, it would add a lot more depth to the photo, to the shot. What do you see here?
unity,
How?
the colors,
Color.
the textures are, I mean, there's different texture, but the colors, the way it all blends together, and with the green popping.
Yeah. It screams as more of a theme, not even a theme, more of a stylistic unity to it.
Yes.
It's that desert Southwest feel through and through.
And then you have the contrast of the stone versus the stucco.
Very,
Exactly.
and those are
Yep.
close enough to where they are the noticeably strong difference between adjacent items. I mean, they're not quite touching, but it's that strong. That's one of the things I noticed immediately too, is the contrast between the two, right there.
The cactus kind of give off a rhythm there, along with the pillars of the stone.
Boom, 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 boom. That would be movement. Boom, boom.
Mhm.
If I can make a noise, boom, 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 boom.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
Good
that's very good. That's a good catch. Correct. What about this?
Picture.
To me, this has been one of my favorite pictures for years. I've had this picture for 20, 15 years. The take this away, and it loses so much. And this isn't it's not a catch basin. It's not an edge right there. It's just a texture bed. But then it makes a world of difference. And the way it shapes and the way it's done, that's a huge element that makes the space come together in a cool way. We've done this one, but movement, obviously. Yeah, actually, we've done this several. We've talked about all the different parts of this one, the planners, etc. What makes this special?
Well, the unity,
Contrast.
the puncture through of, going from
What is
one
that
side
called?
to the other. Integration.
Integration, correct. Yeah, integrates and ties it. Steppers, love them.
Yeah.
Do that all the time. But a note about steppers, they have to be intentional. You can't just put steppers next to another walkway and then they're stupid. So you have to have them where it becomes the only way to get across. In this case, it is. You get across here. That's your access. But I've seen a lot of ones that'll put steppers like right next to where you can just walk next to it anyway, and that's stupid. So
That first step looks like a doozy.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
You may or may not make it across.
Yeah, I got no problem with it, but some others may.
Well, it has a beam of 14 inches before that letter edge, so it's
You're right.
exposed
Yeah,
beam.
it's not a
360.
locker.
So
that is a
yeah, so it's meant to step on that wall
Okay.
beam there.
correct. It's a good catch, Gerson. Yeah.
I was going to say that you're sober coming from the house, but when you leave, you need a little bit of help.
Yeah. Oh.
Exactly.
That's right. Sure enough.
So Jason, what about the shape or the lines in this? I mean, those go the vertical posts and pillars for the cabana there, as well as the vertical stripes on the wooden section back there, and then the couch cushions. That's something big that stands out that looks cool.
That you nailed it. That's what I saw immediately of this. I always like to find things that are different. You see the same things over and over and over and over and over again from all the different pictures. But in this one, we've got a cool pavilion space, but it's heavy weighted. I mean, it's got a tall ceiling, flat ceiling, a big fascia and all that. But these it's talking about contrast of heavy to light, the color contrast, black to white for one. But instead of just doing a big column on the corner and a big column on the corner, to do 5 black, steel supports that feel kind of light in comparison.
Yeah.
That's the design that makes the design. Literally, that small detail makes this space enormously more interesting.
And that's the prime example of it's not about the pool.
Thank
This
you.
pool would not be that cool just sitting there by itself.
Nope.
But the space around it is what makes this design look cool. That is the whole design, and there is water between there and the house.
And really, this is the design. These 5 and this. I mean, that's what makes it.
Also, I think those columns distract you and allow you to not look at all the power lines.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yes. Very true.
Mm-hmm. What power lines? Oh, you're right. They're power lines. That means
Yeah, right. Look at these cool columns. There's 17 of them.
Otherwise, I'm staring at the San Andreas Parkway and the power plant in the distance. And Aaron Brockovich is back there with bad water.
Oh my god.
What screams out here?
Architectural unity.
Yes. Very good. And
Texture.
oh, I love the stones underwater. I know the pool service guys are going to bitch phone and you don't do that. Shut up and get a service. Whatever. I know. Do your thing. I love that underwater when you light them up. I mean, that's a look that's so cool. Yeah.
This is movement, right?
There is some movement here. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. So very true. Mm-hmm.
You've got contrast in the vertical, but also you have the long vertical, and then you have the small horizontal shapes.
Mm-hmm. That is a skillful contrast on many levels. Correct. Yeah. Your orientation is different. Your size is different. Your color is different, yet also replayed within the gold and the black are playing off each other over and over and over again. So, and I love this talking about the asymmetrical element to it. Boom, 4 and then a big space and 1. That's strong. It's a strong visual. When you start playing with it. Instead of, most people will just line 5 up in a row with equal spacing, but tighten 4 up and put 1 off to the side, and it's cool space. That's Danny Wang doing this again. Look at texture here. When you use texture, Oh, it's a world of difference. What do you see? Who's going to catch it? Some people have a hard
The
time.
yin yang.
This is
You know
emphasis.
this already. You've seen it before. Damn it, let someone else say it. It's the yin and the yang.
Yep.
You got the fire and the water and the earth and the sky and the element, and it's all, playing off
And the
each
reverse curve. Yeah.
Yeah, the curves are tying in the space. That's just a neat unity unity feature. What makes it special?
So is it the balance?
It is. It's that roof line. That makes it special.
Symmetry.
So it's just symmetrical balance. So I mean, it's just a rectangle pool. So it's nothing crazy on the pool itself, but the way you're integrating all the other features, the fireplace punctures through, it's centered, the fire and the spa, the cool. I mean, that's talking about when it's snowing outside and you can sit there with the fire going and in the hot water and snowing around you. That's a moment.
It's because they're like united.
Yes, correct. The unity element to it, correct. It's really tying it all together in a cool way. But one thing I've always liked about this is you've got your covered patio, but just like talking about the pools and integrating anything, it doesn't just end. It sort of decomposes into a pergola and extends out and makes it feel like it's all one big space instead of just a covered patio. So
It's good. It's not all roof though. Like
yeah. It opens up a whole different feel and a whole different experience.
it doesn't feel so heavy.
So that's kind of the point. This is seeing things differently. That's really the point. Look at all the little details that some of these designers have done that make things really cool. What is this?
Emphasis.
Emphasis. Yes. Oh, okay. What it's about the big balls and the big balls only. That's what it is. So, and there it is. So it's cool. It works. Here's one.
Color.
Emphasis on the
The
yellow.
roof.
Mhm.
I think that's very unnecessary.
Who likes it and who doesn't?
I don't
love
like
it.
it.
I love
You
it.
love it. I love it. It's so cool.
So it is emphasis, but I will agree with a lot of the nays. Why? This is Danny. This is not Danny. This is Randy Angel. Again, the color gives it away. And there's so many great things. If you start really breaking this design apart, there's some awesome things to it.
I don't think it needs the yellow.
It doesn't. What does that give you? What does it do to me?
Signature.
Yeah, you know who your designer is.
Well, no doubt. It's Randy, which is funny because he's not a flashy guy. He's like quiet and understated. He's not what you think, but
He leaves his mark.
yeah, correct. So, but look, I mean, look at the you've got the different materials. You're going from an Ipe to a deck, and you've got the really cool different textures here, the textures here, the movement that's taking you here. You've got smooth contrast here. You've got an interesting scupper. You've got steppers that go to a raised element. You've got this framed textured piece. I mean, all these layers are tying, even the fence. Vertical, 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 vertical. Behind the pergola, it goes to horizontal, back to vertical. I mean, there's so many great things about this design, but all anyone ever sees is this. This I think is not necessary. So I know what he's trying to do is to make sure that you draw the depth, draw your eye all the way back here. But I think by doing it this way, it ends up losing everything else he did in this design.
Yeah.
And also for me, it's not only the color, but I think that the columns, it's very light regarding the heaviest of the pergola.
Yeah, it's almost like, is it floating? Is it spindly? Is it going to fall? It's a little...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall. Watch out!
Oh, coming down.
Oh my God, it's gonna fall.
That's right. But it's a great design space. I just think it becomes all anyone sees instead of everything else. What is the one thing in here that you notice the most?
Centered steppers.
This
Fire
one stepper that comes across because of the way that it's framed. You've got your symmetry line that's coming across right through here, and you've got cross axis coming across through here, another cross axis coming across through here, very symmetrically balanced. Very nice. This is another I keep wanting to say Randy, but not. This is Ryan. Thank you. Coming through here, and it really, I think it's an acrylic panel. I mean, it's all the things, but really, this understated piece becomes the key that ties it all together, which is cool, just in a very different, unique way. So all the other stuff goes.
Is it balanced with two palm trees on one side and one on the other? Just one.
Great question, Garrison. Great question.
I don't have a problem with that. Looking at it and saying, because you've got this feature, this helps balance that from. I guess you're looking at it from different angles and saying whatever, but you've got this space with that little seating space has got both of those on one side that tie into it, and this is coming down that line through here. That's nice. So the fact that there are two trees and only one there that doesn't bother me. So,
do you think he's tying in the threes because you got three palm trees, three steppers?
Yeah, you can see the landscape light down there at the bottom left.
There's another tree, another palm. You can see that's fronds on the top.
Yeah,
right here.
No.
On
the left, the water wall.
Oh, right here. Yeah, right here. Correct. Yeah, you're right. There's one. This one is framing this one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those two are framing and that one's framing. Correct. Yeah. So well done. Interesting. I mean, this is some of the structure, where the framework of a design is well conceived and put together, and it opens up an opportunity for some of the little features to really take center stage and do. I think that the neatest part about this one to me is this keeps drawing my eye, and it's so small and understated, but instead of just that's the connector between the two bodies of water, and that's the Panama Canal. I mean, it's just but it joins in a neat way.
I think that stone is like the keystone from the arcs.
Yeah, keystone. It's exactly agreed. I feel that as well.
And I think the lighting surrounding, outlining that middle center square makes it more interesting. If you turn off the lights, it might still attract you, but not as much as when the lights are on.
It does.
Night vision versus day vision. Yeah,
it stands out, and we do a lot of that. So we did it on your project too, Gerson. But lighting up underneath that stepper creates that the black or the hollow. I've got another picture. I'll show that in a little bit of one of Bianchi's, but it really makes that shine up cool. So this one's one we did that's got has anyone ever done the burning water before? Yeah, well, I know you have. I have too. So, but this is one we did where there's a gas burner in the bottom of this fountain feature, and the fountain feature spills over the glass tile, and you actually there's a key valve somewhere off to the side, and you turn the gas on, and the gas is lighter than water, so it rises to the top, and you light the water. And the water burns. So it's a burning water fire fountain feature. So talk about an attention getter. If you ever want an idea of how to integrate water and fire together and get attention, that's a cool way to do it. Yeah. So
emphasis.
This
Are
to
those sheer
me,
descents, Jason?
huh?
Are those sheer descents? I can't really tell.
No, they're not. They're fine.
Okay.
They're though. It's like this actually is pretty cool to me. This is and I make stories. I don't know the story behind this, but imagine this guy is has his yard. He's sitting in the mountains from sitting in his backyard, and it's a gorgeous view. And this whatever asshole neighbor comes and builds this huge wall and screws up his whole view. It's like, what the hell is this you're doing?
You're in my yard.
You're killing my view, dude. What are you doing?
Here's your water feature. Shut up. Yeah.
But he took a negative and made it a positive in that case. And he's got so you're basically putting a water feature that's using this big wall, the neighbors there, that's got the fence on it. I mean, that's as negative as it gets, especially in the distance there. But okay, so make it an art piece. So did a water feature that, you know, pours down from one level to the next, and it's got some sound to it, noise. That's an opportunity. Sometimes a huge negative, if you look at it differently, can be a big opportunity to do something super cool, which makes it awesome. I mean, this is, you go out here and just kind of enjoy it now, as opposed to being like, damn.
They got to move the rock climbing feature about 12 feet to the right.
Yeah. There, I saw that too. Yeah, you got of course, then there's some plastic, damn it. But yes, you can still climb the neighbors. What do you think about this one?
Love it.
Do you? I don't.
There's lots of different shapes in there. There's no theme.
Too many columns.
What is
it? And you're highlighting the features that may not be positive features. I mean, you're like, every column is uplit. You've got round stuff that's just vibrant colors when everything else is square.
This is like if my father-in-law decided to design a space. ADHD and just messed up in every which level. So you've got what this material coming off of this, two different materials. This is all curvy. This is circular. This is square. The columns are on the corners of these planters, but what are they doing? The pool is a rectangle. There's no like focal, there's no structure to it really. I mean, it's coming off of this maybe, but why this is just like it's kind of a mess on a lot of different levels.
Because that's what we do. We put 20 by 40s in, man.
I know. And then surround it with some concrete or some decking and call it a day.
On the side.
Mm-hmm. And then, so this is one I've always like, I don't know what's happening here. No one knows what's happening here. No one had a clear vision to it. Pretty cool. See the line? Symmetry.
Looks like a Ben Lasseter.
Huh?
Looks like a Ben Lasseter job.
Is it? It may be. I don't know. I don't know who did this one. It may be.
That looks like Austin to me.
Actually, you're right. The overlook over with the edge. It may be, but I feel like it's in Colorado. For some reason, I think that, but I don't know the answer to that.
That's awesome.
Somebody that doesn't like handrails.
You know it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
2222. I think hill over on the left.
Well, there you go. Okay. Sure not. So. Contrast.
Outward.
Mm-hmm. Clean. Very nice. This is one of my.
That's beautiful.
That's Kirk. That is doing his thing. If y'all know Kirk Bianchi's work, have you seen this before?
Yeah.
If you haven't, you need to. Is just he has a style and a look and a view that's just awesome. He's such a good dude. He's quiet. He's a savant in a lot of ways. That curve again. Everyone else does rectilinear. This and ties in with basically your line is going out and just almost following it up to the mountain in the distance.
And even how the tile's going the other direction on that.
Yeah, the verticals. Yep.
Verticals, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice.
Emphasis.
Bam.
Yeah, in your face.
That's right. It's what I'm looking at. Who is this?
Randy Angel.
It's Randy again. That's right. But what's a detail that's super cool here? Can you see it?
No.
Can you see this? Do you walk on the scupper?
Yes. That's it. Everyone else puts scuppers underneath. But here they're in the coping line. And it's just a minor detail, but it catches your eye and you can't not look at that every time you see it. It's a stainless steel scupper. You probably have bottom fed, scupper coming in, and it's not a huge thing, but that little detail in itself is unique. Thinking different. And then there's the lime green and the red. But yeah. Here's one I did many years ago. And this is a kind of a start taking negative, making it positive. There's a lot I wouldn't do on this now. I don't like about this, but this was earlier on in my days. But the biggest story behind this, this is in Kentucky, middle of nowhere, Kentucky. But this is a big road of the community, and then this is out here in the basically they're on a corner lot, and there's a huge hill that comes down in woods and whatever. No one ever went to the front of the house, like not one time. You always just go through the garage and whatever. And this was just dead space, and it caught the drainage was bad. It was a problem, but it's got all the windows of the house look out to it. So how do you solve a problem and make them, do something nice out here that they want to encourage people to go to the front door instead of just going to, through the garage and all their crap. So I took and made a koi pond with a little glass tile fountain feature and whatever else, and tied in, so it went all the way up to the house and integrated it on that end, and then made steppers that go across through here too. So now people go to their house just to go to the front, so you can go across the steppers and see the koi and fish and the whole thing. So another way to take a negative, make it a positive. Think creatively and design. Although I wouldn't do this, and again,
and the fish are also blind now.
Whatever. Yeah, that's right.
Well, they just run into the wall all night.
Oh, they're just rock stars from the 70s. They're old now. They're like Queen.
You wouldn't do those Flintstone steps. Is that what you wouldn't do?
This looks fakey. It's some stamped concrete, and I've learned my don't do that shit. I know. So. Same kind of stuff. You see movement in the raised panel. I'm gonna flip through these. I do want to get to a couple more things, and then we'll asymmetrical. This is a good. I've always liked this picture. It's like an old world theme with the coping. Yeah, that coping. This is my job in Spain. I use this as my inspiration. It was the house, quote unquote house, whatever, built in like 1170, and then it became a working winery, working monastery, and now it's used as a home to like a staging place where tourists come and spend a week in Spain and stay there and whatever. So we're in a courtyard, but I really wanted to make this old world style, so it's something very similar to this, which is a kind of a cool theme to it. Okay, one more thing. We're going to hit a few of these and we'll call it because it's getting late. But so those are all individual pictures. These are I've got like several pictures of a job itself, so you can see it from different angles and different spots. So you kind of start to pick apart and see. But obviously, this is Bianchi's and one of my favorites. But what are things you see in this project?
Red
as a
emphasis.
That's an emphasis point, correct? Mm-hmm. The fire engine. I mean, it's boldness.
Yeah,
but also. Kind of it's boldness, but it's not like out of place at all. It's nice.
The planters and the coloring and the landscaping he tied in to take some of the emphasis off of it,
soften it up.
Mm-hmm.
All the rhythm.
And what is the rhythm?
The rhythm in all the planters, the scuppers, the circles, I mean,
The
there's
pulse.
Yeah, it's a curvilinear rhythm, which is actually more difficult because it's not its own shape. A curvy, the curves go off into the distance, but they all do. So that's a very good point on that. So, and you look at just thinking how the design mind works. Is that on the next one too? Like, I mean, each of these, there are five. No, the rules of odd. There are five sets of three scuppers. So three times five, and look, and then how you can see how they're coming through in a cool way and whatever else. What's one of the coolest things you see it here that I've done this a few times too. The first time I saw it, I actually went and spent a few days with Kirk out there. So just flew out to see him and meet him and do his thing. And we went to this job and walked across this and did the whole thing.
The invisible stepping stones.
So that's a detail that we do a lot of now, Chad and I do, where you're lighting underneath. This is what Gerson we're doing on your project too. That's the steppers that go across. We're lighting underneath each of the steppers, so the light shines on the outside and makes these negative space, like the steppers stay black, but they're obvious because they're the black and everything else is light around it, but it makes a really cool space. So that's one thing. Correct. What's another thing about these that's really cool?
But also are underneath the water, right?
They're a 1/4 inch underwater. So when you walk across those steppers about 1/8 of an inch, you're splashing. And you can't, I mean, I did it when I was walking across them. I'm just like splashing like a little kid, hitting the thing. It's in Arizona. You don't have to worry about freezing and thawing issues. And it's just so cool to just have that as a minor detail. They're just slightly underwater, and it just makes you want to splish and splash when you walk across it. And kids love it. So super cool detail.
And they're irregular. They're not the same size, same shape.
They're all their own. They're an art piece on its own. Right, I went too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct. Another visual element, sort of a grounding. It's not foreground because it would be up more in here, but kind of is. It's a grounding element. You've got your spa right here, but having this guy towards the front, the little low fountain feature, it just makes everything work out proportionally and feels like your eye, instead of going straight back here and getting lost, it serves as a foreground element. It keeps you kind of in this space, which is where you want to be.
I love that the red tile. So cool.
Yeah.
I think it'll work better with that fall foliage one rather than that straight metal look it had.
Yeah. Wait, say that again. Where the fall?
The old the picture you showed us earlier with the fall foliage.
Oh yes, yeah. Instead of the just flat red to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, agreed. And you got just everything is a grouping of threes and groups. 3 and 3s and ties in neat.
like I love the center point. I don't know. We need to go on the center point, the reflection of the tree over the red spa, and how that comes in from that end, that focal point of that top left picture, the reflection of the tree in the water.
Yep.
That leads down to the end of the pool.
Yeah, it takes the whole space, and I mean, this is just masterful on so many levels.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites of all time. But we kind of talked this one already. This is one of Ryan's originals. Lots of lighting, lots of over the tops, but cool. What do you think of this one?
A little too much color.
Mm-hmm.
Like Elevate showroom.
There's too much going on.
No. What am I looking at? What's happening? Where am I supposed to look? I'm confused.
Crowded. Everything's crowded.
Oversaturation on everything is just I don't want to be here. Get me out. I'm out. I don't want to be here. And this won an award or something. All that. So, yeah. Not all design successful. So this one we've talked about again, just amazing. You can see the structures on a lot of Brian's jobs. He does a ton of symmetrical, but you start to see an artist touch on set groupings of three, catching some details, some textures that start to come into play, art pieces. What about this?
I like those three scuppers.
Mm-hmm. This is get me out. This
is relaxing. Unity.
Yeah, just chill and enjoy and
Simple.
Everything feels. This is unity. This is just. I mean, the rhythm starts to tie it in. This is a space you want to just be. The lights are nice. Tie in. This is one of Danny's again. You see the movements, the patterns that he's putting in there. Each pot's inset a little bit. This feels a little Alice in Wonderland to me, but the Cheshire Cat and the White Rabbit's running around or something. But the rest of it's interesting. I forgot who this is, but this is beautiful. The shape, the fact they layer in, and the fact that it's working with the architecture, and then it's basically working as an extension of the mountain behind it. The colors tie in. Spend some time there.
Wow.
And that's again, more earthy. Very good unity in that case.